Hey, what's up? Cartess here, Move Abroad and Thrive. So tomorrow will be 4 months that we've been living here in Merida, Mexico. I was supposed to make a video a month ago for a 3-month, but time escaped me. So today I'm gonna talk about just our experiences, because from month to month, things change. See things clearer, better, from another perspective, because we assimilate more into the local culture as each month goes by. So what I knew 3 and 4 months ago and how I've done things then will be drastically different than what I would do now. So I took some notes and I'm just gonna try and stay on track, because I can tend to ramble a lot. And if y'all have questions, make sure you post them below. That'll give me some content ideas to talk about and write about and get specific information based on what you're asking for. So take advantage of that if you're considering moving to Mexico, or if you're just considering moving abroad in general. So if you want those questions answered, ask. Don't hesitate. And it'll be good for everybody. If I don't know the question, I'll get somebody who knows the answer. So after 4 months, I'm still loving the place. The kids are still loving it. I was just talking last night about how I'm starting to see more growth out of my kids since being here. They're opening up more. They're showing more of their personality. And it might be just because they're getting older, I don't know, but from who they were 4 months ago to who they are today, it's different people. Probably a lot of other things attribute to that, but it's a positive thing. You know, oftentimes people wonder if up and moving and snatching kids up from where they were and bringing them to another place, if that's good or bad, or, you know, I mean, staying could be just as bad. You know, I look at life differently than most folks. I just believe that this is a journey meant to be explored. We're all going to die at some point. So does it really matter that we moved here or moved there, or stayed here or stayed there, whether we got that PhD or GED or didn't graduate or graduated? We're going to be dead. And none of that stuff is going to matter when it's all said and done. I think the most important thing is to live life in the now. And that's what the Bible talks about, living in the moment, living today, not worrying, just living, because you don't know when your time is. I was just reading a story about a man, UPS driver. I think he was in his 50s or about to turn 50. 30 years. It was 30 years with UPS, was about to retire, 3 months short of retiring, and a plane just fell out the sky, clipped his UPS truck, blew up, gone just like that. 1 in a 10 million chance of that happening, or 1 in a billion chance of that happening, but he gone now. You just don't know. So that's not even, so I always say don't get caught up on the little petty stuff that really just don't matter. I think that teaching your children to find happiness, or finding happiness for yourself, is probably far more important. Because if you're happy and you're straight and you got yourself together, your children are going to be better off than if you were miserable, angry, sad, depressed, or whatever. But that ain't what y'all signed up for, so I'm going to get back on track. But yeah, I'm still loving it here. I'm starting to see more opportunities that are here, simply because now I'm learning to understand better the Spanish. I can't speak it well, but I'm understanding more of what people are starting to say. And as a result of that, my experiences are getting better. I'm more confident in talking now. When I first got here, I was more concerned about how I sounded and how I looked talking to folks, for fear of looking like a fool and sounding like a fool. But what I am learning 4 months in, is that putting myself out there and talking more or attempting to talk more is actually helping me learn faster. And I've heard other people say it didn't make sense, but now it's starting to make sense. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You know, when I asked for Coca-Cola with no sugar, you know, like diet soda, I would say when I first got here, you know, I knew the words Coca-Cola. In the beginning, I thought it was sin, because it looks like the word sin, S-I-N, which is close enough, because most of these guys will understand what you're saying. But the I makes an E sound, so sin. Azúcar, spelled A-Z-U-C-A-R. So with me, I would always pronounce the Z sound, azúcar, whereas the Z's tend to make S sounds, is azúcar. So when I would say Coca-Cola sin azúcar, I can say it now without even thinking about it. Whereas in the beginning, I would stumble over them words for a whole month. But as I continued to say it over and over again, and then the person would correct me, I finally got it. And I'm finding that to be the case with all of the other words that I'm learning. So again, put myself out there, people correcting me, it's allowing me to learn faster, understand more faster, thus makes for a better experience. Now, if I see rentals on the road or houses for sale that I'm interested in, I will call now, whereas in the past I wouldn't. And I would try to have a conversation to try and find out what the prices are. In the act of doing that, again, I get more comfortable, I learn more, and I'm not having to be totally reliant on other people to make calls for me. And that's the thing you want to do. You want to get to a place where you're not so dependent on folks. And 4 months later, now, I'm not so much dependent on other people. I can now do things on my own, which is now encouraging me to want to learn more Spanish, put more time into my practicing and learning, because I see the benefits of having that independence. You know, when I first got here, I used to call David for everything, my internet, my electricity, my gas, how do I do this, how do I do that, where can I go get this, I don't know how to pay at this place. Now, because I'm in that place where I'm no longer uncomfortable looking crazy, I can do it. And that's what I would suggest that you all do when you get here. If you don't know Spanish, just get used to the idea of being uncomfortable and looking crazy, talking. Because that's the biggest fear that most folks have, is looking embarrassed and whatnot. And so now I'm at a place where I don't care anymore. And it's liberating, but you got to get to that place. What else? So I know I'm gonna talk about a little bit of everything. You know, the other day my internet was turned off. I never got a bill, so I didn't know how much, you know, so I didn't know where to pay the bill. Out of sight, out of mind, I didn't get a bill in the mail, and one day they cut my internet off, so I had to find out how much the bill was and pay it. And now I've been here since June, and now it's October, so June, July, August, September, so basically 4 months. They wanted me to pay all the back due payments, and in order to restore it. So I was like, they're gonna be a whole bunch of money. So only come to find out, all I had to do to restore the service was pay the past months, and it was like $30. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm here. Cost of living and cost of expenses is just drastically, services are just drastically cheaper. In the US, I mean, just for my internet alone, I was paying almost $100 a month, like $89 just for the internet, which is costly. You know, I didn't have to pay that for 4 months worth of service. You know, I mean, 4 months of service, like $39, $30, $35, $37, $38, $39. That's why I'm here. So that was another thing, and I don't know if I told y'all, my cell phone bill for my local AT&T service here, AT&T Mexico, I had to prepay for the year. It was $84 for the whole year, and unlimited talk and text, I believe, unlimited calls to the U.S. and Mexico, and I get 5 gigs of service per month for data, but I also get unlimited use of WhatsApp, unlimited use of Facebook, unlimited use of TikTok, unlimited use of WhatsApp, unlimited use of, I think, Instagram. I'm not 100% sure. So that don't go against the 5 gigs of data. So because I have all those unlimited access to those other apps, I don't even come close to using my 5 gigs. So that $84 a month plan, perfect. You know what I mean? $84 a year plan is perfect. That's like, what, $7 a month. And they have cheaper plans with more phones. So again, just the perks and the benefits of being here. Since our last update, I've gotten myself into a rental car. I'm finding it hard to turn it back in. I just got used to the convenience. You know, my daughter goes to class 6 days a week for her gym, for her ballet. So did the math. 2 drivers jacked the price. Well, one driver jacked the price up on me. The other driver, it was just starting to get more and more expensive as my daughter's class hours increased. And so it just financially, it just made sense to get a rental. And I'm enjoying that rental. Yeah, it cost a little bit, but the benefits, you know, just to give you an example, I think my entire month of Uber bills was $248 to be exact. So we round up to $250 for an entire month. And that was for all of us to go wherever we wanted. Sometimes each of us would be in a different car, taking Uber and Didi. And that entire bill for both services was $248 to go wherever we wanted. Now, that did not include getting, transportation for my daughter to class 6 days a week and back. I had a driver for that, but I did go back and do the math and calculated that had we decided to use Uber and factor in her 6 days a week being dropped off, being that she's young, that means I would have to get in the car, ride up, do a round trip, ride to her ballet school, drop her off, and then the car bring me back. And then I would have to go back out in the evening, go pick her up, and then come back. So I calculated that if we did that, adding her 6 days a week, it would add, I think it was like another $200 a month. So, I mean, our whole bill would be like $500. What's that, $450, $428? Let's just round it up to $500. And so I was like, well, for $100 more and some change, I can get a car and be flexible and go wherever and do whatever I want. So that's what I ended up doing. When I get my residency paperwork, which should be sometime in December, at that point I will buy a used car and just be done with the payments and all of that stuff. But I am enjoying the car. The car gives me more freedom to go out, do more stuff, see more areas, go to other areas, and I found that has been super beneficial because now, as a result of being able to see these different areas, I realized I'm probably going to live in another area. And depending on what your goals are, in my case, I'm looking to save money. I do want a much bigger place than I have now, with a bigger yard, a much bigger swimming pool. Because I probably will do retreats and trainings and coaching throughout the year as I continue to get settled in, fly people in for workshops and training and stuff like that. So I would like to have a bigger house and bigger property to be able to do things and just have fun. And so I've been exploring all these different neighborhoods and houses and parts of town, and I clearly see how cost effective and how much cheaper things are in these other areas. Traditionally, in areas where everybody tell you, don't live in those areas, stay in the north or stay in central. But I'm finding that all of those other areas are just as safe, and the people are just as nice, but the cost is significantly cheaper. So that's what I'm looking at doing different. If I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know now, me personally, I probably would get an Airbnb for a month or two, take my time, check out the areas, and find a good deal that way. I think time will get you a better deal. versus say locking yourself up in a 1 or 2 or 3 year lease and you're paying more than if you just waited and took your time for a month or two and found a better deal. The house that we're in now is a beautiful house. It's a great deal for the area that it's a great, this joker. So it's a great deal, but I don't really need to be spending that much money when there are other places that's 2 times the size or 3 times the size with much more features for the same money, if you know what I mean. So that's what I would do differently. I'm not disappointed with where I'm at. I was pressed for time. I was staying in a hotel and I was trying to get out of that early, as fast as I can. So when something beautiful came up that worked in my budget, I jumped on it. But again, knowing what I know now, and I've met a lot of people that's come here under the same, for lack of a better word, under the same madness that I came in. Let me get a hotel, let me get an Airbnb for a week or 2, and just try and cram and find my place in that time frame. The problem with that is folks here move at a different pace, and when you're in a hurry, things don't seem to work out for you. Rarely ever does, because people are moving at a different speed, different pace. Things come up, holidays come up, weekends are up, and other folks are busy doing other things while you're in a hurry to find what you're looking for. So I would say that I would backtrack, give myself much more time to find my place. If you can rent a car while you're here, rent a car or get a driver and just constantly ride around, go to these different areas and see, because each of these areas have their own personality, and you will find one that matches your personality. So for example, today, there's this little spot that I go to. Now I generally support the local mom and pop little shops, little corner stores, for lack of a better word, the little fruteras. One might sell chips and candy. The other person might sell fruits. Another person might cook little tacos and little things. So each of these individuals might have different specialties of stuff that they sell. So now I find myself supporting them. And so so there's one neighborhood that I go to, which is real close to me. I go there, I buy my stuff. Today I went and bought some bananas and some apples. Then I walked 2 minutes down to the next block and we bought some cookies and some chips. For one, because it's cheaper, but we go to the same place because it gives us the opportunity to talk and get to know the people. You keep going back to the same place, they start knowing your name. They start asking you little questions. Where are you from? And they start, then you get a chance to practice your Spanish. They get a chance to practice their English more. You get to practice your Spanish more because they ain't trying to learn no English. Some of them, some folks aren't. But you start to feel that sense of community. And I think when you live in these areas where all the expats are, one's gonna spend a lot more money for food and other stuff. And 2, you don't really get to assimilate into the local culture. I moved, my goal to moving to Colombia initially was to learn and be assimilated into local culture. And now that I'm in Mexico, I want to experience more in all of the culture. I didn't come here to learn or continue to hold on to my culture and practices. I wanted to learn more about these local folks and their traditions and their customs. So like right now, there's a holiday coming up, the Day of the Dead, around the Halloween and November 1st or 2nd. Big festivities and parties and all sorts of things. I don't know much about the history of that, but I'm gonna look into that a little bit more. But there's just so much here to do. The culture is so rich. The people are just so friendly. And, so I want to experience more of that by living in these smaller neighborhoods where I can go by and see the same folks every day. And it's a good feeling when you know that your money is helping this local mom and pop shop, helping them pay their bills and take care of their kids. And they appreciate you when you continue to come back. You know, and it's convenient. You're not having to drive as much. And maybe once we find that more permanent place, who knows, might not even need a car. But for now, where I'm at, I need a car. Now, we got by fine for about 3 months without a car. I'm not suggesting that you need a car, but I'm saying if you're looking for a place, it might be advisable to rent a car for a month while you're here. It's going to cost you, but it's going to allow you to see for yourself and travel to these different neighborhoods and go back. And so what I often do, I go find these neighborhoods and I go back in the daytime, I go back in the nighttime, I'll drive back by early in the morning. And now that the curfew is lifted, I'll go back at 3 in the morning just to see what kind of noise is out there. In addition to that, I'll go back on the weekends to see what the crowd is like there and just to see what's going on. And when you have a car, that becomes more convenient. And again, it allows you to go explore other areas. And once you go explore some of these other areas that are further out, you may decide you want to live further out. You know, everybody's not coming to Mexico to live amongst the expats, and I think that needs to be your mindset when you come. You know, what is your goal in coming? I know many folks trying to make their money stretch. They have limited retirement, trying to save money, or, you know, they just trying to rebuild, or whatever the reasons are. Once you know your reasons, then, you know, it really wouldn't make sense to live in certain areas where the cost of living is just so much more expensive versus living in other areas that are just as nice, but maybe 20 minutes out or 15 minutes out, you can save a bundle. I mean, I've seen houses for as little as $235 a month, 4 bedrooms. Now, some of y'all might be like, oh, well, I don't want to live in. What are your goals? That's the big thing. The only reason I have to be close to where I'm at now, again, is because of my daughter's school. I ain't trying to drive 30 minutes, 6 days a week to drop her off. Nor am I trying to pay the cost of Uber or a driver to get her to class 6 days a week. That's not what I'm trying to do. So, and again, a lot of deals, you can use real estate agents like David. You can also look for these properties yourself. Facebook Marketplace is a great place to start looking, and just to get an idea of what things cost, and see what you get. So I would advise that. Look, just check around. Some of the best deals I found was just by riding around different neighborhoods, taking photos of places that have for rent signs or for sale signs, and just taking notes and calling. Some of these homeowners will owner finance. I met a lady the other day. She was willing to owner finance, but she was only willing to do owner financing for 1 year. Had to be paid off in a year. But she was willing. Hey, I'm sorry, Cartess here. Don't mean to interrupt the show that you're currently watching. I just want to make a quick message, and then we'll get right back to it. Look, it's my goal to let as many people know as possible about the opportunities to live abroad. The opportunities are great. You can save a ton of money, drastically cut expenses by as much as 55 to 70%, while the quality of your life just drastically improve. You know, if you don't have enough money for retirement and you need your money to stretch further, living abroad is an option. And so it's my goal to get the word out to as many people as possible. If you're finding value from this content, please consider making a donation. I got my CashApp below. I want to continue to get the word out and share this message and just let as many people know about the opportunities to live abroad. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to get right back to the program at hand. Enjoy. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate your support. $1,000 for a year. Now, some folks might go out 5 years. You just have to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. I find people are flexible enough that whatever deal you can come up with, ask, work it out. Residency information. So I was going to, there's a special visa that's circulating around here that expires at the end of December. They don't know if it's going to be renewed, but this visa would have allowed me, it requires me to allow my tourist visa to expire and then set up an appointment to go to immigration, pay a fine, and then pay another fee and they would have given me a 4-year visa on the spot. I would have walked out the door with that. Now, it's risky, but hey, I'm a risky kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? It was a risk I was willing to take. You know, no income verification, no, what else? A lot of the stuff that you need to verify at a traditional U.S. embassy, a Mexican embassy in the U.S., you wouldn't have to do all of that here. I kept hearing mixed reviews that, you know, I just needed to have been in Mexico one time before, have entered into Mexico at one point and left, and then come back. And so I've done that. I was in Mexico in April and left, and then I came back in June. So that would have qualified. So, but the missing detail was I needed to have been in Mexico sometime in 2019 and or 2020. Arriving in 2021 don't apply. So, lesson that I'm learning is when you hear this information, get on the phone, set up an appointment, go visit an attorney, and get the facts. That would have saved me a lot of trouble and a lot of headache of trying to figure this stuff out myself. So now I know I don't qualify. So what I'm most likely going to do, my visa expires on December 12th, about 6 months. So sometime between now and December, probably December 1st, I'm going to book an appointment in Atlanta to go get this residency paperwork done for all of us so that we can stay. You know, so when you hear information, verify it through proper sources, because everybody is saying 20 different things, and the best thing to do is spend the money and find out. The right information is going to save you. For example, there's been bad information circulating around where people have been told that walking around with a copy of their passport is all they needed. That's not true anymore, at least here in Mexico. You're required to walk around with your original documents and the little FMM sheet that they give you, which is like, I guess it's like your little tourist visa pass in a sense. You need to have that with you at all times as well. They get that to you when you land. You're checking out of immigration, they'll give you this little green and white form. Supposed to carry that with you along with your passport. A lady made a comment in one of the Facebook groups. She posted that she had her copies of her stuff, and they ended up taking her to a detention facility, and she was held up for several hours. She was able to get out. A friend of hers had to come in and grab her, but you know, all the extra drama she had to deal with, and she talks about the horror stories of being in these detention centers with all of these different people, and I hear stories like this all the time. So carry your original paperwork. Again, whenever you hear something, just verify it. Check it out for yourself. These are some things you want to know for yourself. I'm guilty of walking around with copies. I no longer do that. Now I'm more conscious in researching for myself and talking to the right authorities, such as an attorney. It'll save you a bunch of headache. So if you come to Mexico, carry your original documents on you at all times. They are cracking down on immigration here. There's a lot of illegal folks here in the U.S., in Mexico. A lot of illegal Americans and Canadians and all of that here in Mexico. So they're cracking down. Especially if you're riding those buses, they're checking those buses. They're making random stops on these buses. They're getting on and they're checking everybody's documents. So bring your originals everywhere you go. From my understanding, you don't want to be held up in these detention centers. Here's the rule of thumb. You know, a lot of folks complain that, oh, I'm being targeted because I'm black. I'm being targeted. Well, I mean, let's get this together. You're black and you're in Mexico. In these parts, there just ain't a lot of black Mexicans that live here. So you stand out. White folks get the same treatment. They don't look like they Mexican, because there are a lot of white Spanish Mexican folks. But I've heard from the white ones, the white Mexicans, they're getting stopped. You know what I mean? So if you don't look like you belong here, they might ask you some questions. But if you are doing what you're supposed to do, you don't have to worry about and you got your documents on you, you ain't got to worry about a lot of the drama. So what's happening is a lot of people don't want to apply for the traditional residency the right way. A lot of folks have been making border runs to Belize and other places and then hoping that they get a new 6 months and they cross back over and come back. Well, they're cracking down on that. They got a centralized computer system that they now started to network together, and now they're able to see these folks who've been making these border runs. And so when they go back across that border and try and come back for another 6 months, they're being told at the border, we're only giving you 7 days in the country. So if you need to go get your stuff, go get your stuff and get out. So I don't see that as a thing that they trying to track you down and watch you. No, they just cracking down on immigration. I mean, they just cracking down. If you're not gonna get a permanent visa and do this the right way, or temporary residency visa, then be expected to be put out of here. We just gotta follow the rules. You know, there are rules that if you staying here for the long term, do the paperwork. Application fee ain't expensive, $40 to do the paperwork, depending on which embassy in the US. Then you pay another small fee once you check in here. Just do the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? So there's legal ways to do things here, and I just say just do the right thing. And if you ain't running these games, then you don't got nothing to worry about. If you have your paperwork, you ain't gonna have no problems for the most part. Now there's always an exception, of course, no matter where you're at. But those, just follow the rules. I decided that I'll probably put the kids back. Probably put the kids in school. They're a lot more comfortable now. I mean, they was comfortable when we first got here, but they're even more comfortable as time continues to go by. They're practicing Spanish on their own. In the beginning, I was trying to make them learn Spanish. Now they do it on their own. My daughter's in class 6 days a week with Spanish-speaking students, so she's having to learn. So I decided I'm probably put them in school after the Christmas holidays. 1, so they can learn faster. 2, communicate with other kids, make local friends. I have no plans on putting them in an international school or private school. I'm gonna put them in a local school right here where the real regular kid go to public school. No different than when Mexicans move to the United States and they keep putting them in the local school. They learn English faster. They make friends. We're gonna do the same thing. That's where I'm leaning towards. They not objecting, so kind of get the idea they kind of want to go. So, which will give me my whole day back to run these streets and do whatever the hell I want until 2, 3 o'clock or whatever time they get out of school. So, and then if they decide to stay here, from my understanding, university here is so cheap and affordable. Why not take advantage of that? You know what I'm saying? So all options are on the table. Well, I think I pretty much covered all my points. Finding real estate, ride around. Walk the neighborhood, take Uber. If you heard about a particular colonia that might be a good area or specific area, go over there, get Uber, get dropped off, and just spend a couple of hours walking around the area. See if it's convenient to walk to the grocery store, or if it's an Uber's drive to the grocery store, if it's real cheap to get there. Those are little things you want to look for. Can you walk to the store? Can you get this? Can you get that? See if the area has everything that you needed to have. Just making sure, again, ask me questions so that I can assist you. Don't be afraid to talk. I talked about that. Markets, buy local, search. Other than, I still love it. It's almost like the more I'm here, the more I like it. The safety factor here is a big, huge plus. They have petty crime, crimes of opportunity, people, if you leave stuff laying around, somebody gonna snatch it. From my understanding, the biggest crime here is domestic violence. That seems to be an issue here. But beyond that, in terms of physical violence against folks is not too much of a big thing. Not to say that it don't happen. I'm not downplaying it at all. But I feel 1,000% safe. My girls walk up and down the street, go where they want to go to the mall, go to the stores on their own, do what they like. What else? Cost of living is the cost of living is amazing. Our housekeeper, the cost for her is super, super cheap. I talked about that already. I don't know, man. You just do there's just so much you can do. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get signed up in my piano classes probably in the next 30 days, just to have more things to do. I think the most important thing for you to do is assimilate, find something to do. This is what I want to talk about. When you first get here, because I've been talking to a lot of folks about this. When you first get here, you're gonna be overwhelmed. Some days you're gonna feel like I'm in the right place, you made a great decision. Then other days you can be like overwhelmed and like, man, this is too much for me. I need to get on back home. I'm not comfortable here. You might have a bad day where your Spanish just ain't good and you ain't understanding anything and you're frustrated. You're gonna feel bad because you lose the independence. When you first get here, your independence gonna be kind of shot because you're still trying to find your way around and you're limited on your Spanish because of your Spanish. But it's not the end of the world. If you know this coming in and just trust and know that time is your friend, and if you can make it through them 90 days, you're gonna be in a far better place than you were in the first 30 days. I would never come this far if after selling your stuff and moving here, I would never ever come here and then make a decision to leave 2-3 weeks later. Just give yourself a minimum of 90 days. 90 days before you pack it up and call it quits. Because I promise you, in the vast majority of cases, everything's gonna make sense and you're gonna understand in 90 days. By the 90th day, your mindset is gonna be completely different. I've seen so many people come, they get overwhelmed and then they leave. It is overwhelming. I'm not going to deny you that. I'm just telling you that straight up. It is overwhelming. Some folks come and they're just in awe from day one. But what most of them don't tell you is the overwhelm and the second guessing that they dealt with in that transition. But when you look back 30 days later, you see yourself, it's like, oh my God, I'm better now than I was just 30 days earlier. 60 days, I'm better now than I was 60 days ago. I'm better now than I was 90 days ago. And for me, I'm only at 4 months. Whew. Man, I'm in a whole nother place. I'm in a soul another place. I told my kids, y'all bury me here, burn my ashes, because I ain't leaving. Now, I'll go visit other countries, but I ain't moved. This is home. Unless I find something better, which I don't know. I mean, I'm open. It's home for at least for the next few years until they finish school, for the most likely until they finish school. I like it here. I love it here. I mean, the living here is just so good, man. We go fishing whenever we want because it's so affordable. We caught so many fish last time. Well, this time we only caught 2 fish. But I caught so many fish that lasted us about 2 weeks. And we ate on that seafood. That fish was so good. I had never ate fish so hours out the water, fresh, that I caught from the ocean. And there's an abundance of fish out there. I can go out there and go fishing whenever I want. I'm thinking about taking up some archery lessons, learning how to shoot bows and arrows. There's places up the street. There's boxing clubs, kickboxing clubs. Everything is just so affordable, significantly cheaper. As I mentioned before, the ballet costs almost $200 a month in the U.S. Here, that's only for 2 days a week. Here, $50 a month for 6 days a week. They in class 4 hours a day now. The hours done gone up. So my advice, wait, take your time. Don't be so quick to leave. You are going to have a hard time when you first get here. It don't even matter where you go. You can go to an English speaking country. You still gonna be stressed and overwhelmed. It had nothing to do with the Spanish. It had more to do with this new place that you in. You're in a foreign place where you're not used to the customs and the way things are done, and you're learning, and your brain is having a shock. You gotta get through that. So don't be so quick to run. Then, once you get here, find something to do. What I find, most folks that ready to leave, they done got here, they done all the tourist stuff, the fun stuff. Now they sitting at home with nothing to do. And now they bored out their mind and ready to go. So you got to find something to do. I don't know, what do you do at home? Do you regularly go bowling? Go bowling. Do you normally go to karaoke on Friday, Saturday night? Guess what? The karaoke places here, they sing in English too. Do you normally go to the movies, or do you normally go to a show, theaters? Go, get active, get involved. Do you normally go do aerobics? There's aerobics classes out here. It's gonna allow you to meet other folks. And again, you get to practice, you get to know folks, you keep going to the same place, you're gonna get to know these people, have conversations with them, and make relationships. That's what you need to do. Pick up the same routines. And if you don't have no routine, you're gonna be struggling around here. You know, so you got to have a plan to succeed when you get here. The vast majority of folk that I see come here, they come here with no plan, and they're ready to bail out at the first sign of trouble, and they miss the opportunity of being in a place like this. And not just Merida, other parts of the world where they choosing to go. They miss out on the opportunities. And I promise y'all, the opportunities are grand. So that's where I'm at right now. If y'all have questions, want to schedule a consultation, want to help sit down, brainstorm, and strategize a plan for when you move here, reach out to me on my DM, send me an email, support@moveabroadandthrive.com. Message me on Facebook, message me on YouTube. Just reach out to me, man, because the opportunities here are real. They real. I can't imagine it. They real. So that's all I got to say today. Ask me some questions. I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you for watching. CartessRoss. Have a wonderful day.